Hello and welcome to the Frost Seymour Experience. I am Paul Seymour. This is
I'm Nik Frost. How are you, Paul?
quite energetic, as you can probably tell. I've had a good coffee. How
You had a
about
mouth,
yeah. How things are you, dude? All right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Enjoyed a
Awesome.
couple of games of footy today.
Yes, it's glad to be back, isn't it? It felt like we just got married, and you've been together all this time, and then you have a couple of days apart, and then you're like, oh my god, what am I going to do? And then about 10 years later, you hope for every day, don't you? But yeah, football's back on our TV, and yeah, what a couple of games we were treated to as well.
Yeah, both very entertaining games, I have to say. Obviously, we'll go first. Wales 0, Denmark 4. Did you catch the whole thing?
I did, mate. Yes, unfortunately. Unfortunately for Wales, I suppose. But yes, I watched it, the whole thing. Thoroughly enjoyed it. What did you think of the Danish performance? Obviously, 4-0 looks huge, doesn't it? Looks like a thrashing.
Yeah.
But what did you think overall to their performance?
They were by far the better team. I don't think 4-0 was unfair, really, on the balance of play.
Yeah.
Wales were the better team for the first 10 minutes of the game. At that point, I was thinking, they might pull this off. And from 10 minutes onwards, they didn't do a thing. They were abysmal, really. Summed up by the second goal, of course, which was one of the worst clearances I've ever seen, ever. And this is an international player.
That's right. Yes. All do apologise. That's Kill Bill playing on the background. I completely agree, Nick. To be fair, I thought, like I say, Wales started off really well, didn't they? And they kind of fizzled away. They always seemed like they were tired, like half an hour in.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, commentators have said their point. I think they've travelled over 2,500 miles during this tournament, which is a lot, considering over the last couple of weeks. I think Denmark only travelled about 200. So yeah, travel can be a massive factor, but I think overall, I think the Danes were just strong, mentally stronger, I thought.
Yeah, they were. We shouldn't take anything away from the Danish coach, of course. After that 10-minute period, he did make a tactical tweak in the defensive area, which is then when they started to dominate the game.
Yeah, very clever play by the Danish coach. But like I say, the 4 goals, I think all 4 were thoroughly deserved. I think obviously when the 4th one, well, even when the 3rd one went in, it was game over anyway, was it? Let's face it. But when that 4th one went in, that was obviously there was a call on that, wasn't it? Didn't know if it was going to be 4, and you don't know. I mean, it didn't matter if he give it or not. You should see Bale in the background when the referee was waiting, just get on with it because you're going to blow up in about a minute or so. Just either give it or don't. But yeah, obviously there was a sending off as well. Harry Wilson was sent off. I thought that was quite harsh, if I'm honest. I think that was at least a yellow. Not worthy of a red, and again, it was a 92nd minute or something daft. Was it worthy of a red?
Wow. I mean, I think you've got to take into account the situation there, haven't you? 92nd minute, they're 4-0 down. Just give them a yellow card and be done with it.
That's it.
It should have been a yellow, definitely. But
yeah. Wales are out. And that was the end of that. So no dream fairy tale for them this time round.
Probably Bale and maybe Ramsey's last big tournament, do you think, given their age?
I think Bale definitely. What is he, 31 now? I mean, he could make the World Cup. But the thing, if they get in, of course. But the problem with that is as well, a lot of his thing is based on speed and pace, especially acceleration. At age of 33, I mean, he is fit. He's a lot fitter than I am at that age. But at the same time, when you're in the World Cup against younger players who are going to be quicker, faster, ready to go, he might be his last. Might be Ramsey. I think might have another one squeezed out of him.
Okay,
if they make it, obviously.
Yeah, of course. And we should talk about the second goal. Yes, it was a terrible clearance, but there was what appeared to most people to be a foul in the lead up. Should it have been a foul?
Thinking back, I mean, I've blinked since then, to be fair. But from what I can remember, yeah, I think it should have been called back. But at the same time, it's one of them. Like if he didn't give it, would it have? I mean, I still think Denmark would have carried on and won convincingly. I personally think at the time it should have been, but it's one of them. What about your opinion? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, to my mind, it was definitely a foul. It doesn't excuse the terrible defending following it, but still, it was a foul. So it should have been pulled back for it by VAR.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. Denmark probably still would have won the game, but that did make it 2-0, and that effectively killed them off, really.
Yeah, that was it, really, wasn't it? I mean, I just think Denmark, like I said, the mentality won that game. I know Wales were all fired up and ready to go and all, but Denmark just seemed to have that kind of Viking spirit. They've had from their ancestors in their blood, just going for it, and they really did just tear Wales a new one, didn't they? 4-0 is a very domineering scoreline. So, but yeah, thoroughly deserved and great match to watch, especially for the neutral. Probably not if you're a Welshman though. Shame for them.
Yeah, so bye-bye Wales. And then we move on to Italy 2, Austria 1, which is just finished, of course. Went to extra time, 0-0 at 90 minutes. I believe I called that. Would be a draw at full time.
I think you did, actually, yeah. Yeah.
But Italy, for me, I think I've mentioned a few times, they were my team of the tournament so far. Don't think they played that well today.
Yeah, I agree. I think they turned up in the group games. Obviously, they outshone everybody there. This one's a little bit different. It feels like, I think what Jurgen Klinsmann said when he was commentating, he said it just feels like a new tournament all of a sudden because it's knockout. It's a different beast, isn't it? You can't take as many chances as you can in maybe the first two group games. So Italy, yeah, they've used their team well. They've used 25 out of their 26 members there. They're very, very good at organisation. I mean, when they started, obviously they were firm favourites. I did put a post on my personal Facebook page saying I'll predict an Austria win, and I thought we nearly got it at one point. But yeah, firm favourite. I still think they're strong enough to carry on because obviously mentality to go into extra time and then push and force a win, which they had to do, knowing that Austria had by far the better second half.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it's a classic case of, I think, the weaker team on the night, but the stronger team overall just finding a way to win.
Yeah.
Very much like the Man U of the 90s.
Yeah, of course. I think there were several seasons where they weren't the strongest team in many of the games, but you know what? They pulled it out when they had to, and that was the key, wasn't it, to their victory and to their success? So, great. Obviously, review of the game, 0-0. It wasn't a boring 0-0. I thought there was always action in it. Italy were pressing. They couldn't find the target, but Austria, first half they played well. Second half they played much better. And we'll just obviously, I can never now pronounce his name. Is it Anutovic? Anutovic, yeah. Obviously, he scored, didn't he, for Austria? He got the header. Big shout out to David Alaba, by the way. My God, what a player! Such a heck of a player he is. Like Real Madrid are lucky to have him. In this coming season, it really is just a good player. But anyway, his header come over. He nodded it forward, and he just got a little bit ahead of himself. I think it was just like maybe a big toe. Maybe a foot, maybe. I've had maybe a bit of a push offside and a header off the bar and in. It looked like it was off. That was it. But called back. VAR said back to 0-0. That must have been a moral blow for them. Just because they tried so hard to get that goal. But that was the end of that. No, 0-0. It remained and off to extra time.
Yeah, well, we saw 3 goals, of course.
3 goals in half an hour. Mad. No, you didn't catch the extra time, did you?
Yeah, no, sadly, I watched all the action until the extra time in the Italian game, unfortunately. So if you want to talk us through the goals, Paul.
Well, yeah, very simple, really. I mean, Chiesa's finish was fantastic. Ball come over to him in the penalty box. He took it to the right-hand side. He twisted and turned, and ball basically come over and he trapped it with one boot, flicked it just past the defender. Now, the defenders of Austria they had a boot there, obviously, a boot there, sorry, every time they had a shot, Italy. So they were very good at defending that. But this one, they took it around took it past the defender, took the shot. Chiesa scored 1-0, fantastic. 1-0, and that was it. And then Pesena scored the second goal. Looked to have finished off Austria. That did again another good finish with his left boot. Looked great on a slow-mo. Honestly, if that was him and he wanted to show his grandkids in a few years' time, looked fantastic. Well, a few years, probably about 50 years. Let's face it. Yeah, it looked amazing. They did get one back. Austria, a very, very brave header, to be fair. Corner come over, and as the ball was coming over, he kind of dived to the ground. Remember John Terry when he was KO'd that time and he just flopped to the ground? The Austrian player actually did something similar, but he wasn't kicked in the head. But he did head the ball, and he got through the minutest of spaces between the defender, the goalpost, and the goalkeeper. You'd have to see it to believe it. It was right in the middle, perfect finish. But yeah, at any point he could have had a boot to the head, but he took it well. And that was with 6 minutes to go. No, 6 minutes to go. So Austria had the chance to keep going and going and going, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But I tell you what, they can leave this tournament with their head held firmly high. They really turned up and tried to take on Italy tonight.
Oh, fair play. Yeah, they gave it a good go. Frui says, "What a goal the first Italy goal was."
Yeah, fantastic. Hopefully, you'll see that again from myself on a Tuesday night. I'll hopefully be playing with our commentator Frui at some point. Need to get my fitness back up a little bit. I'm working on it. But yeah, that little finish, that just trap and bring back and score. Oh, good finish. You'll see it in the highlights, but very good.
Contender for goal of the tournament?
Probably up there just due to technique. To be fair, a lot of the other goals obviously were bangers, if you will. We call them that one, but this one was the technique of it. It was not quite Dennis Bergkamp from Holland '98. That was a very unique goal, obviously, but it was similar to it in terms of how he took it down and moved it and shot. So, yeah, I'd say it's up there, at least top 3.
There we go. So, big praise indeed.
I know, right? Not paying me or anything.
So it's goodbye Wales and goodbye Austria.
Yes.
So we look at tomorrow's games.
Yep.
So the first game tomorrow is Netherlands against the Czech Republic at 5 o'clock. Played in Budapest.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of that one?
I think so. Sorry, I'm just drinking my my water. Thanks, Ronaldo. Yeah, I think that'll be a good game. I think Czech Republic won't be easy pushovers. I mean, God, it could have been England, couldn't it, if they'd have got second? But or was it third? I can't remember where Czech Republic. I think they finished second, didn't they? But I tell you what, it could have been England. But I wouldn't want to face Netherlands or Germany. In fact, we're stuck both ways. But I think Czech Republic will turn up. I think they'll do well. We need a shock at this tournament so far. We haven't got one yet. In terms of knockouts anyway. At least only 2 games in, so how could we? But yeah, I can see a Netherlands win, but it won't be easy. I think Czech Republic will really give it a good go.
Okay, I think there's going to be an upset there. I think the Czech Republic are going to win that 2-1.
You do? You don't think the Dutch have got it in them?
They've played well, but I don't think they've been tested. I think they're going to fold like a pack of cards when they are.
Yeah, someone's flicked the bottom card away, yeah?
So that game should be all right, but this is the game I'm looking forward to. Belgium versus Portugal tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Played in Sevilla. I mean, that's a cracker. It's got the makings of a cracker.
It does.
Ron versus Lukaku.
Yes, De Bruyne versus Bruno. I mean, we've got a few little matchups there, haven't we, really?
Nice.
But yeah, Portugal, Belgium, well, on paper, it's a domineering game. Could it be a 0-0 due to obviously being overpowered? I mean, Portugal tend to be one of them games that against Germany, we thought, what could it be? What could happen? And it was an exciting game overall. And I think Portugal, one of them teams, even though they're up there for being quite a big team, they don't fail in terms of putting on a show, Yeah. So I think that will be a good game. Who's going to progress? Oh, God. Oh, goodness me. I would say I'm going to take a punt at Portugal because of tournament experience. I think they've won it before, which they have, obviously. I don't have to think that. But because they've won it, I think they've got that in them to progress. Whereas Belgium they've been very nearly. They were very much like England were last World Cup. They were nearly men, weren't they? But they never quite made it. And they've never had a sniff of getting close to any of these trophies before. So I think Portugal will be the team for me anyway. But will progress. How about your thoughts?
Well, let's just read out Frui's predictions. He's calling a Holland 2-1 win and a Belgium 3-1 win.
Ooh, okay.
I'm
just drawing a Belgium bun.
I'm with him with Belgium. I think Belgium are going to beat Portugal tomorrow. I'm going to 4-1.
Oh God. Okay.
I
think Portugal can get battered.
I think Portugal are in for a shock. I think those boys are going to take one hell of a beating.
A horrible Portuguese breakfast for them.
It's going to be a Lukaku hat trick.
A Lukaku hat trick, goodness me. I mean, if you put a bet on for Romelu Lukaku to get the golden boot or something, because you speak very highly. I mean, obviously, he backs it up. I'm not denying that.
Well, that was bloody Kane, who hasn't even had a shot on target. He's had one shot on target. Oh,
God, Kane, yes. That biggest disappointment so far, I think, especially for England. But yeah, I mean, it's a massive score, that. Belgium 4, Portugal 1, goodness me.
whoever wins out of Belgium and Portugal, they'll be playing Italy in the next round, which is going to be a hell of a fixture.
Yeah, I'd like to see Belgium, Italy. I would like to see kind of like a Premier League 11 with a little bit of a mix of other clubs into this versus an Italian team that's based in Serie A. That would be quite a matchup. I think. You know.
I mean, if England can get past Germany, I mean, looking at our side of the draw, we've been very, very lucky.
Yeah, I mean, every team up there: Italy, Belgium, Portugal, France, Spain, even Croatia to a point. I think if you play them again, it'd be a different beast. But yeah, that side looks a bit deadly up there, don't they? So they're going to knock each other out. The only thing I would say is, whoever gets through out of England, Germany, I think they will progress to the final. I do. I just don't think, as much as Denmark were great, I don't think they'd have it in them to beat Germany. And I think England would just do enough, weirdly enough, to overcome them. And Netherlands, Czech Republic, I think that would be pretty much a set one. But the only thing I would say, if it's Italy or it's Belgium or any of those big teams that get into that final, they're going to be taking on the big boys. They know how to prepare for them. So they'll be the deadliest when it comes to the final, because they're going to be like, well, we've beaten off the biggest teams. So now we're going to be facing the final biggest team, the final big boss, if you will. And I think they'll be going into it mentally stronger than the bottom half would be. So England really need to think that way as well. If they think that way, then they've got a chance. But I still don't think they get past Germany. I'm sorry. I can't say it.
Well, Fruis could see a Germany, France, or Italy final, and I can in fact, I think it will be Germany, Italy final. Looking at the fixtures,
yeah,
I'm calling it now.
Germany, Italy. I tell you what, ain't a bad shout, that is it? Ain't a bad shout that at all. Very, very interesting. Prediction there. I mean, I think that Italy would have. I think they'll get to the final. I think there would be, even though they struggled tonight against Austria. Austria were very stubborn, weren't they? They weren't going to lay down. But I think a team like Belgium and Portugal, they're going to be more willing to go for it and therefore make a mistake. And then that's when Italy will pounce on that. But that's true. They might not have the legs. I agree there as well. They are going to be tougher games. So it's going to be harder to play. So how many got? They got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 games overall to win the thing. Italy have already through, so they've only got 3 games left. I think it's the travel as well. Like mentioned earlier, Wales 2,500 miles from every destination they went to, compared to Denmark's 200 odd. And I think, like I said, yeah, mentally Denmark are on it because obviously they're doing it as a collective. They lost a couple of Paulsen wasn't playing today either. He was a big player from in the last rounds. Obviously, Christian Eriksen, unfortunately, not playing for them now. But they've got that mentality to want to try and push and try and succeed and win it for them, if anything. Well, I think Paulsen might be back next round. We might see. But yeah, I think when you're on a plane, I've done travel. You've done travel, long stretches, and you know what it's like when you get to the end. You just want to chill out and relax, don't you? You don't want to go on a training field. So I think that probably is an issue. And I think England playing at home, the majority of these matches might be beneficial. Might be.
It definitely will be in terms of fatigue. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Good night's sleep. You know, nice train in the morning. Nice egg Benedict breakfast. So yeah, we will see.
There we go. Yeah, that's it though.
That is it. Yep. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Yeah, thank you very much, Free, for joining us. Much appreciated. Always appreciate your comments. Yeah, and so obviously we'll be back tomorrow night on Sunday with obviously the games that Nick's mentioned, with a final whistle review, and we'll see who will be joining Denmark and Italy into the quarterfinals. So until next time, do you have anything to add, Nick?
Nope. Goodbye.
Peace. Bon voyage. Peace out and have a good evening. See ya.